get past this because now I see your daughter is in tears.
Your Honor.
Listen, while you two are acting like children, the child is in tears. Wait a minute. How do you think you cannot have a job?
What?
What?
I couldn't hear you.
It's called excuse me, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am?
See, we're gonna get it right in here today. I don't know who's teaching you, but I'm gonna give you a lesson.
Miss Hood, you say that until you were 6 years old, you were told another man was your dad, and you were even given his name. You claim you've since been rejected by Mr. Fox, and today you'll gladly walk away if the results prove he's not your biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
After all these years, why did Miss Tinker have this change of heart?
I just want him to be responsible for my daughter, stand up and take responsibility for her. And it took this long because he went around circles, played games, hung up on me, never gave me any real answer to why he's denying her.
For 20 years?
Yes, 20 years.
For
I've been working with him.
20 years?
I've been trying to get him to understand that she's his daughter for 20 years.
So the judge straight up jumped to the hard question.
Were you intimate with any other man during the time of conception?
No, not to my knowledge that I can remember. I can remember me being 3 months later.
Your Honor, she had other boyfriends. She was messing around with other people too. She was smashing the homies and everybody else.
Do you have proof of that?
The homies?
Yes,
How do you
Your Honor.
smash the homies? None of you had no
Your Honor.
homies. They all were broke,
Your Honor,
Honor. I'm mad I smashed that one,
Your Honor.
okay?
Looks like Mama is going to get on Judge Lake's nerves hard on this trial.
Mr. Fox, why do you have doubts?
She named her after somebody else, you know.
That might cause a doubt.
Okay, well, I can explain that, y'all.
And Your
I
Honor,
can explain that.
And Your Honor, first we met at a party, drunk. Both of us was drunk under the influence of alcohol.
Yeah.
She used to sneak outside. So why she acting like she
Yeah,
was
'cause
a
my
church
mama was
girl?
trying. Yeah, I was.
She snuck
I
out
had
the
to sneak
window.
out.
She snuck out the window.
Why is it you feel you are not the only potential father of this beautiful young woman?
Because he had his other man sign the birth certificate, had her name.
I did. I had another man sign the paper because when I went to him and told him that I was pregnant, and him and his father told me that he could not have kids.
Because she's a big liar.
At this point, I'm 5
And she
months
still
pregnant
is
when the
lying.
other guy came and asked me. He didn't tell me anything.
You really say that you have no idea why this man could doubt that he's a father. He thought he was sterile. Then you name your daughter after the other guy.
Yeah, I did. I named my daughter after
And the other guy signs the birth certificate. Under the law, he's the father.
Exactly.
Yes, but me and that other
Exactly, Your
man took
Honor.
a paternity test, and we took the paternity test, and he was proven not to be her father.
All of these ugly truths coming out were hard for Miss Hood, and Judge Lake could see that.
Let's get past this because now I see your daughter is in tears.
Your Honor.
Listen, while you two are acting like children, the child is in tears.
Can you tell me how you feel?
I'm still confused. Growing up, this always happened. I just want to listen in so I can be at peace with it, and then I don't have to keep listening to him bicker about the story and go back and forth.
The young girl was done with biased treatment.
Do you believe Mr. Fox is your father?
Yes,
You do? Why do you believe it?
because I look like my little brother.
Child father. I was very selfish. Didn't think about the consequence of the child. I just thought about myself. I didn't want to be bad because he told me he couldn't have kids. So I kind of believed he couldn't, but I knew he could because now I have other kids by him. But I apologize to you because I gave you some.
Okay.
Girl, and he do the same thing with them. He don't take responsibility of them as well.
Yeah, right.
So at the point that you realize you're not sterile, why is it you don't instantly acknowledge that there's a strong possibility that you could be this young woman's father?
Your Honor, she looked like some mama.
So you're saying she didn't resemble you?
Nonetheless, Mr. Fox was giving Judge Lake nothing relevant to the testimony.
How many other men in your mind did you think she was with?
We met at a party.
Okay,
We both met
that
at a
don't mean
party.
she slept with everybody at the party.
And she was sleeping around with other people.
Name one other person.
Wait a minute, you saying you met at a party? What does that have to do with anything?
Okay.
That's the type of person she is. She been out there.
Your credibility is waning.
The only valid doubt part was the other guy's name on the certificate.
Except for the fact, and I will give you this, that this young woman is named after another man and he signed the birth certificate. I'll give you that. Did he treat you like you were his daughter, or did you always feel a separation?
I felt the separation. I felt like he favored the boys more than me. My youngest little brother, Thomas, named after Thomas, he would take him to parties or events with his family.
Mr. Fox, you are her father. The young woman sitting here in tears, and then you ignore her pain. I'm not having it. As her father, would you like to voluntarily help her change her name to a name that reflects who she truly belongs to, and that's you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Babies having babies is very frequent in paternity court. Let's get down with another one.
Ms. Jones, you and your mother say you are tired of the defendant's denial, and once the DNA results prove your claim, you demand to be reimbursed for baby Lyric's child care expenses. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Houston, you and your mother believe jealousy over your new relationship has led the plaintiff to point to you as her child's father, and you are convinced the truth will be revealed in court today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, the prom incident led to paternity doubt. That doesn't make sense.
Do you think for yourself?
No.
You don't. Who thinks for you?
Yes, you do, honey.
Who thinks for you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I do. It was 2 or 3 days before we broke up because she was getting confronted of cheating on me.
But I ain't never cheated on him. And it was mainly you and your husband.
You're right, because
that
me
was
and my
doing it.
daughter were catching text messages coming through your
What
phone.
text messages?
You were answering
What
your
text
phone.
messages?
Daughter would just ignore it. Well, all of a sudden she came to me and she said, Mama, you wouldn't believe what came across Miss Jones's phone. And I was like, what? She said, look, and a gentleman said, did you have a good time last night?
No, God never texted me.
Bottom line is you're denying their allegation that some man was texting you, some other boy.
I don't know why they got there.
When you two were dating, were you dating anyone else?
No, I was with him. I was faithful to him.
8 months is a lot of time to wait, isn't it?
Your Honor, she's been disconnecting herself this whole time. She's like, that's between you and Nigel. That's between you and Nigel. So
Ms.
she
Houston,
doesn't.
have you stepped out of the picture? You said it was between her and your son?
Yes, ma'am, because it's so much drama going on. When you call somebody at 8 months pregnant and say, hey, I just found your number in my old phone, so hey, you guys are too much drama. I didn't want to tell you I was pregnant.
But the defendants claim that the whole thing was perpetuated because of another girl in the picture.
How the heck I'm gonna
On
know she's
Facebook,
pregnant? How I
she
know
was
you
6
was
weeks
dating her?
pregnant, all of a sudden the phone call came.
Yeah.
Because you know these.
Yeah,
used
so
to
like
know
I
each
just
other.
psychologically.
And you 18
and that
years
he
old
was dating her.
with 2 girls pregnant at the same time.
At the same time.
Well, if you would have known the first one, maybe he wouldn't have did the second one. He didn't know what to think because she waited until she was 8 months. I mean, you can't just throw 8 months and I'm about to have a baby in a month and expect somebody to jump on ship with you and be like, okay, great, let's go shopping.
Your Honor, I was.
Hold on.
And I texted and called her, never got a return call.
Your Honor, I asked for DNA multiple times, more than 3 times.
Some manager was fueling the Houston family's doubt.
So why did
Like-
the coworker say somebody else was the baby daddy?
What coworker?
Manager said,
The manager.
The manager
Your Honor,
said, oh, you're one
Your
of the
Honor.
guys that she's claiming to be her baby daddy. One of the managers came in and said that Miss Jones is claiming to be her baby's father because I guess he's one of the few.
He said there were multiple men she was claiming
Yes.
were potential fathers.
Yes.
Their witness also supported their claimants.
When you were working, a co-worker told you something about Miss Jones.
My manager did.
What did they say?
He seen Nigel come in and he said, is this the dude that dated Nakisha? And I said, yeah, that's him. And he was like, the dude told me and that's over there stalking, and he pointed him out to me and was like that she told him that he was the father of her child too.
So far, Lyrics had no father figure in her life.
Have you played any role in Lyric's life thus far? None. Have you seen him?
no.
One family member has seen the baby, and I let her see him willingly. So for them to be like, I won't let them see the baby.
So why would Nigel
They
try to
have
come see him?
multiple
He has to
times,
come by
and
himself.
I keep asking them, and every time we set up a date for them to come see the baby,
Because Nigel-
they wouldn't even show up.
Gotten 1 dime of support from Mr. Houston.
No, ma'am.
You admittedly haven't sent any money. Do you have a job?
No. I go to school.
What about after school? How in the world do you think you making babies in this world and don't have a job? Who's supposed to take care of them? Me?
No.
How do you think you cannot have a job?
What?
How do you, what?
I couldn't hear you.
It's called excuse me, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am?
See, we're gonna get it right in here today. I don't know who's teaching you, but I'm gonna give you a lesson. When I say something, the answer's not what, but I am going to
Okay.
today, because what he's not gonna do is stand in this courtroom and potentially have 2 children at 18 years of age.
Well, maybe if he would have known about that one.
No.
Some real good schooling coming, people.
It is important for him to get his education.
Right.
But if he is going to continually sleep with women unprotected and make children in the world, he's got to have a job. That baby is how old, Miss Hasty?
6 weeks.
So how do you take care of the baby?
I work.
How is it you think you can't have a job?
I ain't said I couldn't have a job.
Why don't you have one?
I don't know.
Are you applying?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Let's get those results.
Mr. Houston, you are the father.
Boom!
Don't do it. This is not a time to perform, because this is not a joke. You 20 years old, Mr. Houston is 18 years old. You at 18 years old, you have a 6-month-old and a 6-week-old and no job. We must change this.
Denying paternity out of spite is low, but things like this are what bring you to paternity court.
Mr. Brown, you are here to prove that 2-year-old Isaac Brown is your biological son. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Wilcox, you state you were in a whole new relationship with another man at the time of conception and were not having sex with Mr. Brown. And you are here to prove that Mr. Brown is not your son's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown knew what he was claiming.
Mr. Brown, why are you convinced that 2-year-old Isaac is your biological son?
I'm 100% because, like, I signed a birth certificate, and plus I never had a real relationship with my father. I wouldn't want that for my son. Look at my son and my two beautiful daughters right there. They look like identical. They look like triplets right there. The only thing that's different is that he caught the future of his mom's eyes, the blue.
But the baby mama was sure that the baby was not Mr. Brown's.
When I found out I was pregnant with Isaac, I was in a fully committed relationship with my ex, which I did not sleep with Michael in January at all. I was with my ex the whole time, having unprotected sex.
This is the first I ever heard of this. You would promise sex to your children's father in exchange for him watching the children while you go out and have sex with your now boyfriend.
There was a lot more coming next.
She didn't go out, she went to the next room.
In the next room? Wait a minute. She went to the next room.
Yeah, because me and my kids were playing in the living room at that point in time when they walked in the door.
Yeah, she is something else.
You're saying she walked in the house with the new boyfriend, told you, if you watch these kids right now, I'm gonna have sex with you later in return. And then she'd go in the room and have sex with the new boyfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
You something else, Miss Wilcox. You something else. And you admit it. You just say you didn't follow through payment plan.
All this information can tick anyone off, and Judge Lake is no exception.
I paid for the test. If I didn't believe the kid was mine and everything else, I wouldn't have paid for the test.
And you know that has nothing to do with nothing, right, Mr. Brown?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, look, I'm here for you both, but you have got to give me some evidence that makes sense. I don't care if you paid for the test, and I don't care if you bet your bottom dollar that you are the biological father. She wasn't with you till that was December, and her window of conception was first week in January. It cannot be your biological child. What do you say to that?
It was around the 28th, but then also sperm stays in the sister inside of a woman 5 days. Cause I learned that in sex education.
Now you're getting to some facts.
Judge Lake called up a witness to testify.
Ms. Johnson, I want to know, are you hoping Mr. Brown is Isaac's biological father? Are you hoping this other guy is?
Mr. Brown's, he's gonna always be his daddy because he's been in his life for the past 2 years, going on 3 years.
And what type of relationship does Isaac have with this other guy, with the ex?
None at all.
He doesn't even know the other guy?
No.
Even though Wilcox's ex had totally bailed on him, she still believed he was the father.
We don't even talk or anything. I don't know where he's at, but it's been eating at me for the past almost 3 years that he looks just like my ex.
Well,
and I don't feel like
you
should have a right to pay for somebody else's child if this is his child. I'm not sure on who his father is, and I don't feel like it's right to make somebody else pay for somebody else's kid if that's not their father.
Up next, reality check, Judge Lake style.
You will not let her finish a sentence. When you force yourself on people, their inclination is gonna be to back up. And I feel like in a way, her insistence that you cannot be the father anyway, it was because you are so overbearing about the fact that you are the father. In the case of Brown versus Wilcox, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are the father.
To and fro between two women got Mr. Hammond served child support papers, so he wants a DNA test.
You are submitting into evidence the paperwork you received.
Right.
Explain to the court what this is.
On the paperwork, it lists me as the father.
Dear Christopher Hammond, Regine James has asked us to open or reopen a child support case for the child listed above.
Right.
And so when you got that paperwork, what were you thinking?
I'm like, man, I need a DNA test.
Well, paternity court is the place for that if your doubt is valid.
Mr. Hammond, how did you all meet?
I dated her for a couple years. I moved away for like 4. And during that time, I had a relationship with Miss Kiera. So, you know, me and her was kind of rocky at the time. That's when I reconnected with Miss James.
Apparently, both women knew what they were in for. Or did they?
Both of them knew. Well, she didn't know.
He actually said that he's keeping her under, he didn't want her to know because he was just getting money from her.
Is it your position, Mr. Hammond, that both women were aware that you were sleeping with them at the same exact exact time and they were comfortable with that.
Kiera wasn't
Keep
aware.
it 100, as you would say.
100. Kiera was aware, wasn't aware, she was.
I was aware?
You feel me?
Okay.
Turns out Miss James wasn't in for the arrangement at all.
Actually, when he told me he was gonna get money from her, I said, go ahead, I'm not gonna give you my money. You need to find a job or something. I'm not gonna take care of a grown man. And she could do it, I'm not gonna do it.
But you were still having sex with him.
We were.
So right before Niaja was conceived, you all weren't in a real relationship.
No.
But you were having sex.
Right, at that time, she got pregnant in March.
So this young woman was pregnant with your child.
Right, and I
you
just
were
found-
still having sex with Miss James.
Yeah, of course. Well, we all know that because they're, you know, kind of close. So that's why I say, of course, because it's close. But what I'm saying is, you know, let's get back on topic. She called me and told me that she was pregnant, right? I found out from someone else, and then we met and talked about it.
However, what happened next pushed the judge's buttons hard.
Let's stay on topic.
Right.
Don't distract her from hearing the testimony that Miss James is gonna tell about what you were talking about to her when she was already pregnant and the way you was lying back and forth so that you could keep having sex with 2 women and then get 2 women pregnant potentially at the same time. So let's stay on that topic.
Right.
Okay, keep going with your topic.
So we actually had met up. I was at work and he was like, I want to see you. So I, on my break, I only had 10 minutes. I said, you got 10 minutes to tell me what you wanted to say because I don't want to hear it. So we met up and it wasn't even about the baby, honestly. He was like talking about how he shouldn't have never, you know, had sex with her and lied about everything he lied about. And
Still, Daddy was very doubtful.
You had sex with him after that. So how am I the father?
Is this the only day you were intimate with her, Mr. Hammond?
No, it wasn't.
What is going on here? Are you engaged to be married?
Yeah.
honestly,
Since when?
since when?
Last year.
What kind of engagement is this?
She is the one who texted me every single time that he supposedly talked to her.
And you are comfortable with just 3 months
I am
before?
not comfortable with what is going on, and he knows that.
Do you feel like it's going to end?
Hopefully. I'm pretty certain that he is not messing with her anymore.
Know that he's sleeping with her while you're engaged.
And we will deal with that when we go home.
Oh, so you didn't know this?
I did not know that.
He calls me when,
Okay.
So he
yeah,
calls you
me
blocked?
when he wants to see me. And
I
go,
called
okay.
him.
And you
My
just
block number.
come running,
Yeah, she never had my number. So
No,
how
but
would
you're
we text
sleeping
her?
with this older man that has other kids that don't want to even take care of your baby, and you're upset and you want to blame it on him.
See, she's delusional. How do you
No.
know all this?
Wow, that's some serious denial going on here.
You're out. Go pop the popcorn.
Please.
I had to think that's it.
What else?
A mess. On some woman level, and I asked her, is that Chris's baby? She said, no, that's not his baby. I don't want nothing to do with you guys, and you guys could have a happy life, and I have nothing else to say to you
I
guys.
did tell her that.
She did say that,
because
and we
why
blocked
is,
each
why
other.
is it any of her business, period?
Looks like the plaintiff was not done playing innocent.
He actually told me it
If I call,
doesn't.
she
He actually
come
told me it don't
running.
have to be
So
2
it-
And
years.
you call it.
Yeah,
this
because
is my
it's
point.
easy.
And this is what I'm saying to you. I am not gonna be able to change this dynamic between the 2 of you.
Right.
I can't change that. It's a chemistry I don't even think you guys understand. Because you keep calling, she keeps coming, y'all arguing, but y'all still having sex. Only thing I can do is to say to this young woman, I hope you watching this.
Time for the result.
In the case of Hammond versus James, when it comes to 5-month-old Niaja James, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Hammond, you are not the father.